Perfect. Hello, everyone. Welcome here on our Wednesday. Uh, where are you calling in from? Let's get a few of you saying where you're calling in from before we get started.
Hi, from Sweden.
Hey, Sweden
Delmira, Canada.
and Canada.
And
Howard,
Minnesota.
Canada.
Oh,
Donna,
Minnesota
Ontario, Canada.
and another Canada. And I also heard Artie on there with another
Arizona.
Canada.
Portugal.
Portugal
North Dakota.
and a South Dakota.
Paris, France.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Oh, I hear the accent.
Again.
From California.
Hello, hello.
From Denmark.
In Denmark.
From UK.
Woohoo!
Hey, Taz.
Hi.
Fun, fun. Wonderful. Well, it's a couple minutes after the hour, so we are going to get started. I will be muting everyone so that we don't have any background noise because we don't have time to have any noise. It is the best month of the year where we always, every year, in the 15 years I've been in, has always been like the #1 month, and this month is no exception. Our quarterly report was just coming out, and we're just in awe of where Zinzino is going. Super excited about that. And part of it has to do with, I think it was triple digit growth here in the United States, 140 something. I can't remember the exact number, not that numbers person I am, but 140 something. Now, part of it is because they have been acquiring other companies also, but also because of how incredible these products are, how incredible this company is, and actually also the vision of where it's going. So many of these direct sellers that are coming to Zinzino have had such incredible stories of their background, of how they've built up their businesses and what they really thought of Zinzino when they saw it and how it's been growing, and then those that have also had success with it. Well, our speaker today, he has been fun. Fun to listen to, fun. You could just hear his wisdom because of all of the things that he has done in his past, and the knowledge he has in going forward, and his drive. He is one of the most driven guys building this business and in this industry, I think. So I'm really super honored to have him on here on this Wednesday. We're going to pick his brain. We're going to find out his past. We're going to find out where he's at, how he got to Zinzino, and how he built it to one of the top positions, and what he's doing to hit those next levels to go all the way to the top. So if you are looking at building this business to the top, you were in the right place, and you need your pencil and paper ready to go, because let's bring him on here. Black Ambassador, our Art Napolitano. Hello, Art.
Hello, Carla. Good morning from Phoenix, Arizona, and good afternoon. I think you're in Minnesota today, or in Europe. Where are you in the world today?
I'm actually in Wisconsin today, but really close to Minnesota. Yeah, we're out traveling around trying to get the word out. Now, Art, I think first of all, I know you have been hitting almost every title, so you don't even get to enjoy titles. But you've got a title coming up here that I think is going to be the best title it is. I can tell you from my own experience, you are right on the verge of being grandpa. All right, Artie?
It actually just happened yesterday afternoon. So, yes, this is a November to remember. We had a chance to go up and see my daughter, our first grandchild, and it's really truly a miracle life, and we got to treasure every single day. We can't take it for granted. And it really is also with the Zinzino opportunity. We can't take this for granted. As someone who's been a career network marketing professional for 36 years. I've seen the good, bad, and the ugly. And myself, Carla, as we got to meet maybe just a little less than 2 years ago, because I was looking at the entire industry when my company that I was the leading global top money earner for 25 years made a huge shift in their international policy and closed every international country, retreating just to the US and Canada. And that left me in a global search for a company that would be different, that would be built to last, that would offer something that would really be meaningful for people and not just another thing to sell to make money. And as you saw long before I did, you saw Zinzino as that company that was different. And I admire what you and your team have done here in the United States, because you built the stage that the rest of us that are joining that work in the United States get to dance on. It's never easy to be the pioneer, and you certainly did that. I've had my experience doing that. So I want to first thank you for your leadership, your commitment, and I'm really happy to be running alongside you to help not only grow the United States, Canada, but the global market of Zinzino.
Well, thank you so much, Art. That was really sweet. And yeah, and I didn't know anything else out there. I wasn't I hadn't been in other companies and done other things. This was it. And it changed my son. And a mom is going to go, okay, what is this about? And so been growing this from that perspective. Now, and as you know, family is the most important, and so congratulations. I knew it was close. I knew it was going to be around here. I didn't know it was yesterday, but so congratulations with that. And
Well,
you know, we want to
thank you.
build this up to generations now. We want others to see where this is going, but it's making that impact that you know, I see that's what it's doing. That's what it's done for me and my family. So now I want to get down to, you said you've been doing direct sales for 30 some years. So you saw that this industry years ago, you saw this industry was something that you could build big and that you could create an extra income from, and you've started in other companies. So you've learned a lot from that. So let's kind of go back and say, what did you do for those 30 some years, and how did you get to Zinzino? How did you end
Well,
up here?
Well, to start, as you mentioned, becoming a grandfather for the first time and having a long history in direct sales, I can start out by saying the dream when you start in a business like this is to build up a residual income, because that's real wealth. When you have time and money, you don't have to get up and chase the job every day where you start over at zero. You don't have to be a slave to the alarm clock. Where your real freedom is being able to do what you want, when you want, with who you want. And so we all dream when we hear a story about a network marketing opportunity. They talk about residual income and building a legacy income potentially that could be passed on to your kids and grandkids. Well, I thought I had that too a couple of times over, Collar. One time, my first company, I didn't know anything. I was 29 years old, living in the Boston area. I had been playing guitar in a rock and roll band. I was trying to make it. I was a big dreamer. We wrote a lot of songs, recorded a lot of songs, had one record in 1980, sold 50,000 copies, only in France. It never sold anywhere else in the rest of the world. But we kept recording. By the time I hit 1990 and 29 years old, I wasn't broke. I was below broke. And that's when I was invited to my first network marketing presentation. And it was a moment because they talked about recurring income like a record royalty, where if you had a hit song, you wrote the song once and got paid again and again. And I said, well, that was my dream. And then I remember my godmother had started in Amway when she was younger. And I remember all the family Sunday dinners where everybody would talk about their businesses. And when my aunt would bring hers up, they'd all take out the wooden crosses and get the garlic necklaces out like she was a vampire or something and said, don't talk about that network marketing thing. And so, I learned early on that if you choose this path, you're going to run into the misinformed and uninformed. But today, decades later, that's changed a lot, Carla. I think network marketing is becoming a much more respectable profession because of companies like Zinzino that are doing it different, doing it better, and that's where we are. So I started out my first company. I went to the top. I made $116,000 because I just outworked everyone. I was a student of personal development. My dad got me involved listening to Earl Nightingale lead the field. And I still remember, I was listening to that as 16-year-old kid thinking, why aren't they teaching us this at school? So I was getting trained on the right mindset it takes to win at anything. And I applied that to music too. We outworked a lot of people. We did well, but maybe the talent wasn't there. Maybe the break wasn't there, or maybe the big guy said, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing in life. So I got involved in network marketing, and then the first company, started having legal problems. I really didn't understand what was going on. There was a transition in the industry, a lot of people going to another company. A guy I respected went there. I went to meet with him, and I decided to start a new venture. Went to the top of that company. Then that one failed. And then I said, okay, why is that? Why are these companies doing this? What is going on? And why does it some people work so hard and not get the results while other people don't work as hard and get the results? So I started becoming more analytical, stepping back emotionally from what I was doing, taking a broader view of the industry and the profession of direct selling. And when I joined my company before Zinzino, I watched it for 5 years. I turned it down for 5 years. I said, nope, I don't need to be first. So many people, Carla, they jump in to be first. They think, oh, get rich, be first. I'd rather be right than first. And if you can be first and right, okay, that's great. So I made a careful decision, and it worked out for 25 years and earning tens of millions of dollars in commissions. I built a global organization. We topped 1 million customers. It should have been a lifetime income. I thought it was lifetime residual, but the industry completely shifted. The margins changed for that company, which was a service-related company. And in fact, we were fighting for survival, and that's not a fun place to be. And, people feel it in your words when you're trying to maintain a position, when you're maintaining a qualification, you're trying to rebuild. And if your ownership isn't aligned with you, if they aren't seeing a long runway and a bigger dream, and maybe they get fat and happy, then you get caught up and you're left behind. So when it came down to evaluating Zinzino, it was a true gift for me. It gave me a chance to either decide, do I want to turn it down and just ride out in the sunset, I done well in life, or do I want to turn it up for one last run? And like you, Carla, when I got really educated about this imbalance, this hidden health crisis with too much omega-6 in our food supply, and how that can create inflammation, and that we're not getting enough omega-3. When I learned something that I knew nothing about just a year and a half ago, and it may not be the sexiest subject to talk omega-3s to the general population or business people, I learned that this was so important that I needed to educate people. I stopped trying to sell this and started telling my team, don't sell or try to get customers, educate people about the most important number they don't know about their health. So I came to
Okay, so
Zinzino.
I want to just pull all this together. So you had company went under, and then you stuck with a company for 25 years, built them all to success. But one word I heard you say through all of it was, I worked harder. I worked the most. I worked. And so you were doing the work to get to the top. And that's exactly, once you understood what Zinzino was about, because that's the whole reason I got excited. It changed my life. It changed my son, and when I really understood everybody needed it, it was like, well, I got to do something about it. Then I felt I had to do something about it. And let's talk about the work. So when you were building all these companies, because a lot of what I see from some of the top leaders that have come from these other companies, they also work hard. But what is the things that you would say were the keys that you needed to do throughout building all of these companies? Because you must be doing the same thing. 'Cause I know it wasn't too long ago, we were on a meeting. I think Orion was interviewing you about something, our founder, and he asked you how many meetings you were doing that day. And you said, well, I think I had 16 meetings so far today. It was like, okay. Is that what you're meaning? Is that what you're saying? Is working hard is talking to as many people as possible? Or what would you say are those keys?
Well, Carla, you can frighten some people out of the game to think that you got to do 16 meetings a day,
And
but
I'm one of them. I'm
yeah,
one of them.
it
If you
is.
would have told me that with my 4 kids at home, I would have said I can't build this business then because I just, if I have to do that to earn.
Well,
But I think it's different. I think like now I've never felt like I'm working in Zinzino because it's not the same thing as work. You have a different passion, you have a different drive, you want to talk to more people about it because you know how important it is.
Well, first of all, it's all relative to what your goal is, what you want to achieve. It's great to compete, but you don't need to compare. And I want to compete. I want to win. I've just been so used to, especially when I was the top global money earner in the company I was with. I wanted to replace my 7-figure a year income as quickly as possible, and to do that. I shifted my mind and I learned this a long time ago. In this profession, this type of business, it's really important you get this, that you need when you introduce and bring on partners, you need to know what they're looking for, what's important for them. So, Carla, if you're looking for part-time income, $500, $1,000 US a month is going to make a huge difference for your family, then that's fantastic. You got 4 kids, that's fantastic. How can we work the business so that we can get you to that level at that time? See, my focus has to be on helping the people you bring into the team get their goals. If you help them get their goals, you'll get your goals. Now, for me, I have, insane goals, and most of the people that were with me in my last company did not want to sell product. They don't come. So I really did not bring over the armies that I thought I could have because of where I've been. So a lot of people see people transition because we acquire a lot of companies, and good for them if they can bring their team and go. But this was a completely new animal. And I see a few of my partners on here. We had a complete shift in how we had to learn how to do this kind of business. And
You
what's
did, and you're
remarkable,
doing it. I mean, but you're earning and you're doing things and you're getting to that top. So there's a lot of people already out there that are like you. I have somebody who just came to the annual event and he is also $1 million earner in his other company not a direct sales company, but he saw the big picture and he's like, you can earn $1 million a year, but the residual, and he saw it. But now it's like, okay, he wants that president plan. So if let's say there are people like you out there, Artie, you just met me today and I said, okay, I need to be $1 million an earner. What is it I need to do? What would you say I need to do? What is the work I need to do?
well, first of all, you need to know the comp plan. And when I studied the comp plan, it took me a very long time to learn the terminology of Zinzino. And I'm an expert in comp plans, considered to be an expert in comp plans. So it took me a while. And sometimes it's a detriment to have a background in network marketing to learn this comp plan. But for me, I realized you need to really be elite president to lock down that kind of a stable residual, stable income at $1 million US a year. So I said, okay, what does global president look like? What does the goals look like? How many recruits do I need a month in my team? How many customers do I need? What was the production if I had a balance of customers and recruits? So I gained a picture of my goal. Now, that could be the same if I'm shooting for diamond or I'm shooting for, just 5,000 a month or 1,000 a month. Whatever the goal is, you got to understand what it's going to take to get there. It's hard to hit a target you can't see. So for me, since I'm full-time, got a lot of context, a lot of experience, I just have been working literally around the clock because I know these windows of opportunity, these that called timing and positioning, it doesn't happen like this very often in the world. So let me just talk to those in the United States that are viewing. I went on Zinzino, test.com. I looked at every single country. I went, how many tests in that country? How many years have we been open there? What's the first? What the second test? Then I just created a chart for myself. What is the population? What's the amount of people tested in that population? So Scandinavia, the Baltic countries, all top 1%. So we had about 8 countries soon. Czech Republic and I believe Czech Republic and Hungary, I think, are about to get to 1%. I then looked at where we were in the United States, 0.01%, not even a tenth of 1%. I looked at Germany. Right now, we're over 225,000 people tested. In the United States, just over 50,000. I looked at Canada, 41 million population, and less than 10,000 people tested. When I looked at Norway, 100,000 people tested, 5.5 million population. I said, my gosh, the market opportunity is unlimited here. So I made my list. We're talking working now. You got to make your contact list. You got to go to work, guys. It really frustrates me is that we got such a brilliant opportunity. It's obvious the timing's right everywhere. We're solving a great problem. We got future thinking ownership. We got an owner that believes in the plan, that was willing to get paid from the plan, not take a salary. Okay, you can be a stockholder or earn shares and earn dividends just the way the founders do. This is not what you're going to find in other direct selling companies, first of all. But what frustrates me is you have a Zoom meeting, a business presentation online. How few people show up with guests? You do a private business Zoom maybe where you want to launch a new partner and their only job is to get 5-10 people to listen in, and they get one person or 3 people or nobody. And it just makes me wonder, how many times are they making a phone call to invite? Do they employ themselves the right way? A lot of people, I guess, just aren't used to be self-employed. They're not used to working for themselves. And you don't want to be caught up on the result. What you want to be focused on is the activity. How many people did you share the message of Zinzino with today? Today, that's all that matters. You can't control yesterday. It's over. How many people can I get off my list? So look, Carla, we all know in our phones is every name we ever need to be to 18. The most critical customer time that you can get. You better get it here in the month of November. With the November to Remember and the Black Friday or Black Week specials coming out, there is no excuse for anybody not breaking the A-team, getting the RCB, meaning residual credit bonus, doubling all the commissions on your on the orders that are on subscription. Doubles the credits, doubles the commissions. This is the month to get it done. Now, I was never a big customer getter, but last November, Carla, Stacy and I pushed over with 70 customers short of 100. We made Pro Team 100, got that 10,000 euro bonus, but it was November that kicked us in the butt, and we did most of it in the last week of the month, and we're making a plan also to push our customer account right now, but when those promotions come out. So, again, just having a plan. Take the list. If I gave you 100 euros or $100 for every name you could put on paper, take it out of the phone, and your only job is to get the names off the list. Now, what do I mean by that? Hey, listen, Carla, I'm representing a life science company out of Scandinavia. What I learned was remarkable. I heard about this test that can help predict the future of your health. I took it, and I can't believe what I heard. And, listen, I'm just doing a little survey. Do you happen to be health conscious? Do you take supplements of any reason? Why do you? Why don't you? Oh, you take that. Do you ever take omega-3? Why do you? Why don't you? I didn't know anything about this, but listen, I'd love your opinion. If I sent you just a short video, would you take a look at it? And you can send the health protocol concept video. Maybe you just send them right to a link to a Zoom meeting. But the idea is you want to get the name off the list. If you're talking to just two people a day, and we heard this in Oslo at the National, Orion's pushing two people a day. Before you put your head on the pillow, did you talk to two people today about what the possibility of Zinzino? Now, in my past as a networker, I always led with opportunity, because I always prefer to recruit. But in Zinzino, you can do it either way just as effectively because there's so many people that are health conscious. And Carla, it's easier to talk to, and this is what I've learned, it's easier to talk to people that are already in the mindset of good health, that are interested in making a difference in their family's health, their health, and that's really great. But to build our business, we got to be careful we don't play doctor. We're looking for business partners. I'm a recruiter first. That is what I'm focusing on. Every presentation I'm doing is about joining the business. And Carla, the economy today, it's so confusing for people. On one hand, there's more millionaires being made at a faster rate than ever in any time in the history of the planet Earth. Okay, more millionaires being made faster in one lifetime, and even billionaires. It's so stupid how much money is being made. But here's the other side. In the United States right now, cost of education through the roof, healthcare in the news through the roof. Number three, housing. It just got announced a week ago that in 2024, the average first-time home buyer was 38 years old. It's now 40 years old. When I was 20 years old, the average age for getting a house was about 29 years old. My daughter just having a baby. Out of pocket in the U.S. with insurance, you better have $3,000 just to have a baby. That's without insurance. With insurance, without, it's over $10,000. Okay, back when I was born, we're adjusted for inflation was about $1,000. So everything has gotten more and more expensive, and the outlook for young people is dismal. Unemployment rate for degree holders, 22 to 27 in the United States, people that went to college, ready to go, is that it's worst ever in history to get a job. I'm telling you, young people need education. If you're in the middle of your life, ask you the question, have you saved money this month toward retirement? And then people heading toward retirement, now you got to live on what? A smaller percentage on what you struggled to live on before, called in the U.S. Social Security or pensions. So, Carla, people need what we have. We got the greatest gift in the world of opportunity and good health. You're muted.
So I got a question because, you were doing something else for 25 years with a different company in services. And as you are saying this, I'm like, I just get inspired because it's like, yeah, this industry is huge. But then why Zinzino? You said you looked at the other company for like 5 years before you finally joined that company. Why Zinzino? I know that the product, because you weren't thinking of doing product, but everybody needs this product. But why else of the company Zinzino?
Well, again, I'm a student of the industry for a very long time. And there are some good companies. There are companies that sell other kinds of services or products that can be good. But what you have to realize is this is according to the World Direct Selling Association, last year, the industry produced $176 billion in sales. And that's a huge number and bigger than most professions or industries. And in that, wellness, nutrition is the largest segment of the sales. It's about 33% of all the sales. Personal care is about 22%. But why is it? And by the way, we're in both. In Europe, we got a full-blown, personal care line as well as nutrition. But the nutrition story is so overwhelmingly strong and different that is why that's where we need to focus. It's certainly the front end, but it's the biggest segment of sales for one reason, because when people get emotionally attached to a product that makes them feel better, looks better, improves their life, they naturally tell everyone about it. It's sticky, and that's really why when I looked at my career, because I've sold products before, I sold, every kind of product actually, from water filters to air filters to travel to education products to diet products to skincare products to nutrition. I did sell energy, telecom, internet, television, internet security. I'm a marketing guy. I can do network marketing with anything. Okay. The model of network marketing works with anything. But the only companies that will withstand the test of time have to have a product that can withstand the test of time, have to have management and ownership that have a vision beyond their own even personal goals, maybe a legacy vision. And being public means their responsibility goes to shareholders that are not thinking just of this period, they're thinking of a long-term opportunity. And see, even being a grandparent, I realized when I chose Zinzino that if I'm building it one more time, that with all my background, all the vetting that I did for weeks, would Zinzino withstand the test of time? Is it better than all the other opportunities? And with a resounding yes, I can say that. Now, why would I say that? Number one, you can vet the company yourself. It's publicly traded. I read quarterly reports that were released to the stock market, annual reports. My former first line, I had sponsored Sven Gobel in another company years and years before, 2 decades plus. We knew each other. And his company was acquired by Zinzino. I read that in the report. I said, that's interesting. A corporate executive, Carmelo Danzi, okay, the Italian country manager, was working with me in my last company, was someone who was friendly. I had someone call him, not me, to ask him if there's any dirt I should know about the ownership, about the management. I knew people. I trained a lot of the top leaders. Even Marco was, I think, in my downline from my background. So it's amazing how many people. Another key guy for me that kept talking to me about Zinzino for years, Ralph Yelm had come over to Zinzino, and he was making $20,000 a month with just building 2 lines. To make $20,000 a month in every other company, you got to build so many lines. So I vetted this in detail. So number one, the company. I didn't know if these tests and these products were any good. So Carla, I don't know about you, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a health guy and nutrition guy. I didn't know all this stuff. So I enlisted Stephen Chernisky, who is a world famous biochemist, chief science officer of 4 different companies, was a president of a direct selling company that went to nearly $1 billion a year called Univera. And I called him and his wife, Natalie Cather, who worked she's a doctor, a medical doctor, had her own practice, but she worked in as a principal investigator for big pharma companies. I said, Stephen and Natalie, here's a couple of different companies' portfolios. I'm going back into wellness. I'm making one last run. I got a team I got to, bring with me. Which one of these do you choose? And they said, Artie, I can't believe this is the one. In fact, I tell you what they told me, Carla, was you're the CEO of your health. Not me, not your doctor. Go and do the research. Google the importance of omega-6 to omega-3 in your blood. And when I did that, I was in shock that my doctors have never tested me for this as someone that's been through some health challenges. So big check there. Now I wondered, could I get anybody to test? Probably most people that are new, their big question is, that sounds weird to ask somebody to prick their finger. Could we actually get people to do it? But then I stood back and said, look at the documentation. Somebody's doing it. They've tested 1.5 million people. 1.5 million. And then I realized when you create curiosity around this conversation, people will test. So yes, big check. But you know why we're both here, Carla, and everyone that's watching that's a partner is not for where Zinzino is today, is where we're going. I
Mhm.
don't know about you.
Absolutely.
How excited are you about the announcement this week of Zion, Plantionics, Phytofirm? Does everyone here understand what that means for us, or I talk about that?
Oh, go ahead. I think it's so powerful. But I think let's hear what you say, who has looked at direct sales before and are this expert in it. What do you think of what they just announced this?
Well, this just put Zinzino in a category above all other direct selling opportunities. In fact, it makes the market opportunity for Zinzino bigger than any company that is in the direct selling arena. The largest companies to date, Amway, the granddaddy of them all, they've hit 10 billion US in sales. I don't think they're maintaining that anymore. Most of their business comes out of Asia and even China. So their company has been around for decades. They're a legacy company. You got big companies like Herbalife. You got, USANA's and a few others out there that have done some great things, PM International and companies like that. But why Zinzino? Well, first of all, by the numbers, before I transition to the big picture. By the numbers, Carla, and Orion had shared this with me. He says, as you study how many tests were done in the Baltic countries in Scandinavia, realize that we hit 1% of the population tested, roughly, and we are the biggest direct selling company in each of those countries. So we were bigger than all of them, more sales. So, number one, given enough time, we'll become 1% of every market tested. And in that moment, we would be the largest direct selling company in that country at that moment. So just reason, logic will tell you that scaling this to a global business where we're already in over 100 countries shipping will eventually, our goal by 2050 is to be in 180, that eventually we will hit 1%. In the United States, by the way, that will be 3.4 million people tested just here in the United States. So the metrics that I use will to me says that we will become the largest direct selling company by far in the industry. So that leads me to why things have changed. See, when you start network marketing, you may not have the biggest success in the world because your story might be weak, but we're telling a story. And you're going to get better at telling a story. By the way, everything you do for work, even as a parent, you're telling a story. Okay, you're telling a story. You're a school teacher, you're telling a story. Why not get highly paid for the stories we're telling and get residual income? And that's what we're doing here. But the story of Zinzino has advanced in the last 20 months since I joined dramatically. It's true. When I saw them acquiring direct selling companies, I was curious. And then I realized they really want the people, the distribution to grow faster, to open markets. And if they have some great patent or product that could fit into our brand shop, then wonderful. But really, they're looking at growing faster, using the power of being publicly traded to make investments. But then I saw them acquiring companies like we just heard in the last weeks, the Zion International Group. And they acquired that company, which is a parent company that owns Plantionics. And Plantionics was talked about as an acquisition of Zinzino at the Oslo convention. And if you saw the speech where they were interviewing the panel, and it might have been the CEO or the chief science officer, somebody there was speaking about Plantionics. And Orion Sali and Doug, our CEO, was talking about Plantionics. And Plantionics now has formed a company that Zinzino owns 55% of called Phytofirm, which is an omega-3 company. So these three biotech companies are integrated with Zinzino having pieces on all sides. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. What makes this incredible? Well, first of all, if you want to corner the market in anything in business, you got to have basically four things. Number one, you better have something better than the competition. Number two, you better have a price that's better than the competition. Number three, you better not easily be duplicated. And 4, there better be a market for it and a growing market. Now, what do we have? We have a global market of 6.3 billion people deficient in omega-3, according to the World Health Organization. And part 2 of that is the study that just was done, backed by Zinzino from Vitas Laboratories, using 590,000 blood samples from 11, I think roughly 11 years, from roughly 70 countries, that proves what the World Health Organization says is true. The world is out of balance, and dry blood spot testing is a brilliant way to open that door, and there's more tests to follow. So the market is there. The global market is huge. There's 500 million people taking omega-3 already, and our product is going to prove to be better. We dare you to take the test. So that's number 1. Number 2, how are you going to produce a better product? Well, first of all, technology is evolving so fast, AI is evolving. And the company Plantionics has patents on a process to produce an algae product. We're calling it Algae X. And that algae-based product that's created, an omega-3 from algae, is brilliant for a couple of reasons. Number 1, the process for producing it doesn't have to heat it. So this means we're not taking out or compromising the nutritional benefit of what is important in that product for this product to work well. So since this process is so good, as Orion says, we're talking about something that could be 10x better than what's being produced out there right now. So the second part of that is how do you produce it is a patented process, and there's layered patents. So the algorithms are protected by copyright already, and there's patents pending and applied for creating the actual plants that create the oil, that create the Algae X product. And so we have a product that even the competition wouldn't even be worth them trying to copy us. They might as well see if we'll sell it to them. But that means we got something that's 10x better, that can't be copied. And did you hear what they said in Oslo? From Plantionics, they said we can produce this for 50% to 2/3 cheaper than what's being produced today to create an algae omega-3. Now, we're already in manufacturing. By this summer, we'll be at 4,000 bottles a month. By 2031, Orion says that we will be actually cheaper than even fish oil for 2 reasons. Number 1, we're scaling up to produce massive amounts global product that's better, and it will be cheaper than fish oil by then, because fish oil is a finite resource and it's growing and growing and growing. Now, I just want to share one slide with you, and this will sum it all up. I'm going to share one slide with you. Orion approved this quote: with Plantionics and the recent acquisitions of Zion and Phytopharm, Zinzino is no longer just a global direct sales company. We're becoming a biotech leader in sustainable nutrition. I got to say that again. We're becoming a biotech leader in sustainable nutrition. We're securing the raw materials for the future of the future and protecting our core product line for years to come. Boom, drop the mic. This is way bigger than just another direct selling company. All of you out there, you need to understand what I just said, or at least start to. This is going to be around for a lot longer than I'm going to be on the planet. What Zinzino's doing has brilliant. I am so impressed with everything from the management of the company to the vision of the co-founders, Orion and Hilda, their passion for network marketing. And I literally thank God every day they believe in the goodness of network marketing, because traditional business people, when they have this market advantage where they could even corner the market, they don't go to usually direct selling as a way to get the customers. They bring in all the money, the venture capitalists. They bring in every bit of money. It's on TV, it's on the news, it's on TV shows, the doctor shows, and they corner the market and become billionaires overnight. But in this case, they want us to share in it. We get to have a piece of the pie, but you got to go to work. Make the phone call, learn, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. If you do it long enough, you will win.
Mic drop. I'm burning inside here. But listening to this, I love it. Well, I guess we know why you chose Zinzino and what you see for this future. We are not in doubt about that, Artie. And I think too, we're not in doubt about what we need to do, no matter what people's goals are. It's the work and it's make that list, start calling people, and don't stop until you get there. Everybody needs it. We all have to get it. We need to share it. And those who want to sign up, they can choose to become a customer or partner. But if you can make any income, who's going to say no to money? I don't know anybody who would.
And how about equity? I mean, as someone who's a career person in the industry, the dream is, well, are the owners, doing what you do? Not really. They're not out getting customers, banging on doors or whatever, right? Are they paid the way you are? Probably not. We have to work a comp plan, which has benefits and limitations depending on how you build your business. And the owners believe enough here, Orion and Hilda, to say, no, 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 no. We'll get paid the same way that you did. Carla, that was such a big deal to me to choose Zinzino after being around and seeing comp plan changes and another comp plan change. And look, I understand companies have to be healthy. You don't have a healthy goose, you don't get a golden egg. So I'm understanding of both sides. But there's a point where you just wonder, are they just taking care of them? And what about the rest of us in a changing world all the time? Moving goalposts is so frustrating. But at least in this case, we have owners that say, you know what? We are the largest shareholders, but we want you to not only earn a lot of commissions and bonuses month to month, and you do elevate your spending as you earn more money, but we want to make sure in the end you've got an equity play here. So if you go to president, you pay the price in years, time, and production is all based on the numbers, not on favoritism. You produce the numbers. We want you to own this with us. Now that is another mic drop. For any of my brethren in the MLM world out there, I dare you to put what you're doing up to the test against what's offered here. That's what I'm doing. Now, if you're happy somewhere else, God bless you. It's hard enough to do one. But if you are some reason frustrated, which there's so many companies struggling right now, then you need to know, as an industry veteran, I planted my flag deep here. This is it. This is my last run in business. We've attracted the most incredible people, professional people from the industry that have made $1 million in incomes and commissions. I've attracted the best of the medical world, and the average person gets to win because all of that experience and credibility is on display to help you tell the story. You don't have to be the expert. You don't have to know everything. You just need to plug into what Carla's doing, what other leaders are doing, what I'm doing, and you will win. So, Carla, I want to thank you so much for finally chasing me down. I know it's been over a year. You've been asking me to be a guest on your call, and literally, Stacey and I have, in a year and a half, we've traveled the world. I've been to the Canary Islands to open the Canary Islands. We've been to Scotland, across Scandinavia, Europe, UK, Spain, Italy, many times over, France. Then we went to Thailand, went to launch the market in New Zealand, toured in Australia, came back and did the US, came back and did Canada, went back to Europe again. We've literally been around the world at least 1.5 times planting seeds. And now I'm hoping to start teams right now in the launch of Peru that just happened. We got the Asian markets coming online. I had guests in from Turkey to come to the national. So I'm thinking big, big, big. And now's the time, because every hour today, Carla, we spend will be 10 hours a result. It won't be that way in 3 to 5 years. Every week now is, and especially in November, right? We got all these promotions. Right now, on the 19th of the month is when you're watching this. It's what are you doing today? The last week of this month is going to explode. It's going to explode. Last year in November, we doubled the entire company's sales in the last 7 days of the month. So where are you today doesn't matter. Keep planting the seed and go for all the promotions. Carla, lots of love to you.
Thank you.
finally for having me on. And
Yes, it
my
took
pleasure.
some time to get you down to be able to sit down and do that. And at some point, I think we're all looking forward to listening to you play at some point when we're all enjoying it. Maybe when we're on a director trip with everybody
Yes.
or ambassador trip. But thank you, Artie. This has been a mic drop. There's so much in there I can see even on my own messagings here. People are writing, wow, this is and writing down different quotes. So thank you for taking the time. Now that you have one of the most important titles in the world, Grandpa, I know grandparenting for me has been powerful. I've got my own grandkids too.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I got 4 grandchildren myself, so it's the best title out there. Although, are you setting some new title goals coming up here, Art?
I'm hoping that we can push the president rank, but right now, my bigger focus is helping break a couple more black crowns that get on the Leaders Council. And again, I think the real thing I learned a while ago is help enough other people get what they want. You'll get what you want. Zig Ziglar said it, and I took it to heart. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to talk about my title. I'm going to talk about helping my people get their title. Mine will eventually happen.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Well, thank you. I'm letting everybody unmute here. Thanks for joining,
Love
everybody.
you,
and
Art.
we will see
Thank you so
soon.
much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so
Hey, Art.
much.
Thank you, Art.
Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Carla.
Thank you,
So
Art.
truly
Thank you so
appreciate you.
much.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Art.
See you in
Thank
Thank
Bali.
you, Carla.
See you in
Thank you.
Bali. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, my friend.
See you
Thanks, Mike.
next week, everyone.
Bye.